Are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tool to Play presents Still Got Game with Derek D. Smooth Nolan and Joel Dude I Rock Albert.
This episode of Still Got Game is brought to you by GoDaddy. Hey now! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Still Got Game, episode 25. Still Got Game is the official podcast of ToolToPlay.com. I am, as always, Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
And I am Joel, a Dude I Rock Albert.
What is going on, Joel Dude I Rock Albert, my friend?
Not much. Finally getting back in the swing of video games, so I can actually say that I played games this week, which is nice. It's still ridiculously cold in Chicago, and frankly, I don't want to be living in Chicago anymore, so see how that goes.
Nice. We'll see how that goes. Zing!
Zing!
All right, well, since we're getting off to a late start here tonight, we had some minor video and network issues, so we'll try to keep the show hammering along and try to fit it within your usual schedule, because I know a lot of you have stuff you plan to do after this show. I don't know what it is. It's definitely not as important, but we'll try to finish it out about the same time as usual. So we'll start off with feedback from last week's show. Remember, if you want to leave us a voicemail, it will cut you off after a minute. Rachel comments, my ex-boyfriend always listened to your podcast, but I just recently discovered it's also video on iTunes. That's a weird sentence. I've watched the past couple episodes and they were funny as hell. I'm now a regular viewer! ! Thanks for all your hard work. Well, you're welcome, Rachel. I'm glad.
I love that it's ex-boyfriend. You know, now I want to know the story behind like why it's an ex-boyfriend. And like, here's my theory: is the show was so good that the boyfriend spent so much time listening to us that there just wasn't enough time for him to have with his lady. And now the lady's watching the show and she's saying to herself, "Well, now I get it.
No, yeah,
I get it.
Maybe we're going to rekindle that relationship."
Yeah, maybe the fire now could you guys can sit around all day, talk about us, maybe even help comment on the show. Bring yourself to the show. We'll marry you because me and Derek are both
ordained ministers. Yeah,
ordained ministers, so we can marry you right here on the show.
Universal Life Church. We'll just do it up. Yep.
Welcome.
Yeah. Anybody that wants to get married on the show, by the way, just let us know and we'll arrange that. It'll be totally legal. Although I think you two that are getting married have to be in the same place.
Yeah.
I don't think we can marry you in two separate Skype places. I don't think it works that way.
It's not.
But yeah, we'll do that up. And thanks for the kind words, Rachel. And if you feel like sharing some more information, let us know. All right. And Nickopulus comments. Last week's episode was one of the best in recent memory. Well done, you two Rocket Bros.
I don't even remember last week's episode. Was it good? I assume all episodes are good, so it's very hard for me to judge at this point.
I always assume that it's like the mountain climber game on Price is Right, where the show quality is always getting better and better. And then at some point, we're going to reach that pinnacle, and it's just going to fall off. Yeah. But I don't imagine we're going to hit that for the next maybe 20, 30 years, and then we'll hit that point. So I always assume each show is better than the last.
Because it is, frankly.
Yeah. It is, yeah. Unless there's a point where there's just somebody has too much to drink, or our producers just whipping too many fucking vape hits or whatever, and all of a sudden the show goes to shit. But if not for that, the show should always get better and better and better each time.
It will. It will. That's a promise.
All right. And last but not least, I love Twix comments. I'm just starting to migrate from listening to the podcast version to watching the video version. This past episode, I did all three like you suggested. The differences between the Twitch Live one, the YouTube one, and the podcast one gives each their own special bonus, like different pre-order bonuses from different stores. Awesome stuff.
We bake that in.
Yeah,
we work really hard to produce it that way.
It is true. There no two of the three are the same.
Right.
The most raw, unadulterated version is this, the video live Twitch stream. The YouTube video is just the show proper with any fuck-ups in line with the show. And then the audio version is the best sounding version if you just stopped after the end song. But if you listen to the outtakes, then you're getting back the outtakes mixed in. You're just missing all the video cues. So, yeah, you really got to do all three. I guess that's right. If you really want the full experience, for each 1 hour episode we do, you have to devote 3 hours to us.
That is I don't know. Wow. First of all, if you have that much time, I mean, I'm just really impressed. I'm glad that you're devoting that. If I had 3 hours in a day to spend, I, of course, would also spend it watching myself for 3 hours. I guess that doesn't really work out.
Yeah, exactly. I don't mean what you were starting to say.
Right. I was like thinking about it. I'm like, no. That's, yeah.
I totally would do that. Yes.
That sounds fantastic.
All right. Well, thank you all for the feedback. And if any of you want to give a shout, 773-527-2961, or you can email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. And in site-related news, I have nothing this week, Jay.
Nope. Chug it along. Go download the app. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. The app is where it's at.
App's where it's at. There you go. You're welcome.
All right. Well, that was quick. So then I guess we'll meander over into what we're playing. Joel, Dude, I Rock, Albert, what have you been playing this week?
I hit the Call of Duty hard again this week. Of course, we had the Super Bowl, so that was a pause. But first of all, let me just say, the Super Bowl is awful. I think we all can agree it was awful, right?
It was nice to see Manning lose.
It was nice to see Manning lose. Yeah, that's the only reason. And I wanted the Seahawks to win, and I was happy that they won. But man, what a fucking boring ass game that was. But aside from the Super Bowl, yeah, I played a lot of Call of Duty this weekend. I didn't even know like there's a patch for it or downloads for it, so it's been that long. And I played for a while. Looks really good. They got the new playlists in there. I don't know how new they are. They're new to me. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with Call of Duty this weekend. It's one of those games where if I put it down long enough and then I go play it again, I feel like I get to learn it over again, and I usually have a better time, I'd say, overall, than just like if I hammer it too long, I'm just like, fuck this game. This lag sucks, and I'm out. But now it's like, I'm getting back into it. I'm enjoying myself.
Took enough of a break to enjoy it.
Break, yeah. What about you? What are you playing?
Well, this week's been slow too. That's all I played was Call of Duty Ghosts, and then I've mixed that in with on my phone Flappy Bird, which
I've been hearing about this Flappy Bird. Is it like,
it is the least graphic fidelity in any iPhone game ever. It's one of those games that is so simple yet so hard to master. So most of your games will last anywhere between 5 and 15 seconds. At which point you're like, fuck that, start, reset, go again, and you try it again. And you try it again, you try it again, then you finally get a decent score, and the very first thing you do is you fucking hit that share button, you either tweet it out or you text all your friends, you're like, fuck you, I fucking kicked your ass. And it's a complex little game for something so easy.
It looks like they stole just like Mario. They just stole everything.
Whatever, they may have used like a Mario toolkit to get the pipes thing, but the pipes have nothing to do with the game itself. It's just to make a little hole that you have to hop your bird through, yes.
Okay.
But yeah, it's free, and it's on the App Store, and you can get it. And if you want to compete with me, I am on iTunes. Add me on Game Center. I am _DSmooth_ because some bitch fuck McTit shit stole DSmooth. So obviously the real DSmooth is right here, but now he is _DSmooth_. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely download that, add me, and we'll compare scores.
Done deal.
All right. And I guess on that, we'll move over into the new releases. And we finally have some new releases out, which is nice. It is like the cap is being unscrewed and they're starting to come out. And this first one is really going to be a test here. First new release out this week is a multi-platform release, and it's the Lego Movie video game. This is out for the Xbox One, the PS4, the 360, the PS3, the Wii U, the Vita, the 3DS, and the PC. Jesus! 8 fucking platforms. This is the latest in the TT Games' wildly popular series of Lego games. It's based on the new movie that comes out at the end of this week. The movie comes out Friday. The game comes out Friday. Coincidence? I think not. As always, enhancements have been made to the gameplay and the engine. TT always is pushing this forward each time. They're like, how do we innovate? How do we bring it to the next level? What kind of tweaks can we make? What do people not like? What do people like? For the first time now in this game, the entire environment is made of Legos. So you may be like, well, what's that have anything to do with anything? Well, since this game also introduces the concept of characters that are regular builders and some characters that are master builders. So regular builders need instructions to put stuff together. So it's like, oh, to make this, I need to do this, 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 and this. Master builders, they don't even need the directions, and they're like, oh, shit, I'm short a part. They can just rip it out of the fucking environment. And obviously that can cause some destruction in the environment, but, that's neither here nor there. So I'm really excited for this game. I love all of the Lego games, and this movie actually seems to be one of those movies that appeals to people that don't even like Lego stuff. The commercials have been on during the Super Bowl, during football games, on the kids' TV channels. It seems to transcend age and gender. So I'm excited for the game and excited for the movie.
Well, this goes back in or I guess it's a chicken before the egg, so it's hard to say, but this goes into the constant discussion that we always have, which is, can a video game movie, be successful? The problem is this, this is like more Lego, I think, than it is video game. So it's very hard to say if we could put this in our judgment call if it's a successful gaming movie. But
because the game is the movie and the movie's the game.
Right. It's yes. You're like, and at the end, and then at the root of it, it's Legos. It's neither. So it's like it could have been successful just being a Lego movie. We don't know. But it is kind of interesting. It actually looks like a decent movie. So, yeah, I don't know. You know me with the Lego games. I'm not one to pass the mic to comment because I don't play any of them.
No, all right, that's true.
And it looks good for you, so that's good.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, the next new release out this week is on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation Network, and it is Outlast. This is the surprisingly popular first-person survival horror game that came out on Steam back in September. The game is set in an asylum, and your basic goal is surviving the other inmates in the asylum. What makes this different than every other survival horror game is you don't have weapons. You're not out there to fight people. You're literally surviving. So you're either doing Prince of Persia style climbing and jumping and hanging where they can't see you, or you're sliding under beds or getting into crates. And it's an entirely different type of survival horror game. Looks amazing, and it was pulling scores in the mid-8s on Steam, which is decent for a game of this genre. Like, that's mid to high 8s is awesome. Like, some companies would kill to have scores like that. The big plus that I'm sure is going to get a lot of people to pull down this game is that it's free for PlayStation Plus members this month. So if you've paid for your PlayStation Plus subscription this year on your PS4, which most people did because they wanted to do some sort of online stuff, right, you can just go there now and download it for free. It's yours, absolutely free.
Wow. This is the one advantage that the PS4 still has, and I'm hoping Xbox starts getting on board. This is a game where I probably wouldn't have bought it, whether it's on Steam or not. And you guys know me, I'm a PC gamer. But because it's on the PS4, I'm just more likely to download it because that type of marketing has yet to come to a console. And Sony seems to be the only company that's doing it. So, I mean, I'll definitely jump up and take it for free. Why not? And more, like you said, more and more people now have that subscription because if you want to play online games, you have to have it. So it's kind of a no-brainer. It's really, I'm really hoping that this sort of follows suit into the land of Microsoft because this is really fucking awesome.
Yeah, Microsoft started Games with Gold, seemed like a good thing, and then all of a sudden the new console came in and they're like, oh yeah, Games with Gold, we're still giving you stuff for that thing you don't play anymore.
Halo 2, baby.
Yeah. Like, I just don't understand. Microsoft hasn't caught on this yet, but
not yet. But this is this looks like a great game, and it's like you said, high 8s in Steam is like getting a 10 out of 10. Like, like IGN's version of a 10 out of 10 is like a 5, but this actually is more accurate when you go to Steam.
Exactly.
So, this is good shit.
All right. Well, last new release out this week is out for the 3DS, and it's Bravely Default. This is Square Enix's latest Japanese role-playing game. It's a spiritual successor to Final Fantasy, the Four Heroes of Light. This game came out back in December in Japan, and it got fucking rave reviews, high 8s, low 9s there. Now, granted, that's a JRPG in Japan, but usually the super high-rated ones, that score kind of transcends here in America, too. As far as 3DS games go, it actually looks pretty decent. I know that screen is so low res, and most of it's just the gimmicky 3D stuff. But the game actually looks decent. It's actually one of the few 3DS games I can think of that has full voice acting in it. Like, that's just
crazy.
That's not something that's done on 3DS games. It's not my kind of game. JRPGs just piss me off and drive me nuts. But if you're looking for like a quality portable JRPG and you got a 3DS, this is probably a must-buy for you. I don't know.
I would say, it's especially if you're coming off the Final Fantasies franchise. If you're ever into that in any way, shape, or form, most people that buy these types of games, they'll buy it. If it has Final Fantasy tagged anywhere on it, you're going to buy it anyway. And when I was younger, I was a JRPG fanatic. I don't have the patience for it anymore. But I would buy anything with Final Fantasy. It didn't matter. If it sucked or not, I'd buy Final Fantasy. So probably going to be a pickup for anyone that's into that series. If you're into JRPGs, you're probably going to pick it up anyway. But yeah, now I don't have the time nor the patience to play any of these types of games, sadly. Because I used to be like super into them when I was younger.
No.
I just can't do it now. Plus, I don't have a 3DS, so that's going to be very hard to do.
That's very true. That'll be a costly point of entry for you there.
That'd be tough for me.
All right. Well, on that, why don't we hammer over into gaming news? First story.
First story. And this is for all of you Minecraft lovers out there. And apparently there are a lot of them because Minecraft on the PC has surpassed 14 million sold. And this is via joystick. The original PC version of Minecraft has sold 14 million worldwide, a figure that takes the game's total sales, sit down for this one, to the 35 million mark. At the very least, could be more, we don't even know. The $35 million figure, or sorry, 35 million figure is based on numbers previously given by Mojang, which is, and I don't know how you pronounce the company, I believe it's Mojang, for all of the platforms. And this includes the 10 million that they sold on the Mobile Pocket Edition that was back in May of 2013. In truth, the total sales are probably a million or two more. We really don't know. Bearing in mind that Mojang still has the lucrative PS4 and Xbox One versions that are already in the works. We can really only imagine how Notch, who is the original creator, is probably a Scrooge McDuck, money bin that he swims in every single day in Sweden, which is just a giant. It's filled with gold and it's filled with women and it's filled with just awesomeness. That's all. He has so much money. So I mean, it's weird. I feel like I keep waiting to see this, and it's going with what we said about our awesomeness of the show. It just keeps going up. He just keeps, it's the same game and he's just selling it and selling it. And when the fuck are people going to stop playing? This is insane. Yep. I mean, what do you think?
The numbers on this always, well, they surprise me, but they shouldn't surprise me. Because I know that our 4 kids here all play the fuck out of it they all play on console and the boys both play on PC. And so that's between the four of them, that's, 2 of them playing on 2 different platforms, 2 playing on the other platforms. Actually, and 2 of them have it on mobiles as well. They have the, whatever that is, the Minecraft fucking Pocket Edition or whatever it's called. So, it shouldn't surprise me. And then I go online and I look at my friends list and I'm like, okay, here's all my hardcore buddies. And a bunch of them are loser douchebags playing Minecraft. Hit being one of them. This guy plays more fucking Minecraft than my kids. It's
true. Like, it's sad.
It is so sad, and it's unacceptable.
It's unacceptable. If I'm getting shit for not being on the console, don't tell me when you're on the console you're playing Minecraft. We can't even like have a conversation.
No, you might as well just whop your dick off right now.
Just play Warcraft at that point. Just play it.
Yeah, at least there's some goal there, as opposed to like, hey guys, look what I went and I rebuilt Azeroth in Minecraft.
I'm making puzzles.
It's perfect. And then I used all the red stuff and I made actual working switches that open the doors, guys. That's right. It's awesome. You can push this button here and that door over there opens up. It's so cool.
It's like I did it by myself. I built it by myself.
Yeah, it's an accomplishment. My mom told me it is.
She said I couldn't do it, and I showed her I did it. She was like, "You're so great. You're a great son. You built awesome stuff in Minecraft."
She also told me I was handsome.
No, she didn't.
No, I'm lying. But I know she was thinking it.
She was.
Yeah. So, I mean, yes. Somehow we got on a horrible tangent, which, by the way, was also a highly accurate tangent as well. Yeah. But still, it is amazing to see what this game is doing. It really is. For me, the only question I always have is, like, they're just remaking this game over and over on the next. You're going to get it on the Xbox One. It's not a graphically intensive game. It's probably going to resell once again. The guys that had it on PC or had it on Xbox are going to rebuy it. Yep. Like, look at Hit is shaking his head. He already knows he's going to buy it, and he already knows it's the same game, and he doesn't care.
He's like, I don't care if it's the same. It's going to be 60 frames a second of 8-bit pixels. And now, granted, the one thing they did say is it's going to have a larger canvas size or whatever you want to call that, world size.
Canvas. Yeah, that's like the crack.
But if you're filling that, then the more you're filling it, the dorkier you are. That's really what it boils down to.
Right. If you're running out of space, you're just more of a loser.
Yeah, exactly. It's a direct parallel relationship. Like,
correct.
Your loser level goes up with the amount of shit you have in your Minecraft world.
I want more space because I want to build a dragon. But why I can't put the dragon anywhere because I ran out of space. Where am I going to put the dragon?
My dragon's too small. I saw somebody else had the same size dragon. I know I can do better.
It's like Rain Man. Anyone who plays this apparently can also count cards and do other magical things.
Yes, except they've wasted all that skill on playing Minecraft.
Minecraft, right? That's the sad.
Yeah. Why don't you guys take your shit, fucking channel it somewhere that's appropriate. Do something good with yourself. Hell, I would rather you all, like Jay said, go play fucking Warcraft. Just get in there. Like, at this point, this is now the 800 billion pound gorilla. This is the thing that it has more people like this, and League are
League as
they're
well.
insane. Like, just leave those things and go back to World of Warcraft or play.
I can't believe we've actually come to this where we're like, just play WoW. Just play WoW.
It's less of a life sink than this.
Than this is.
Anyway.
All right.
On another sad note, I'm almost sad to come back to this topic because I feel like it should just remain dead. But unfortunately, it's back in the news. Rhode Island lawmakers are proposing a bill to default on the 38 Studios debt. And this is via Polygon. So Rhode Island lawmakers this week proposed a bill that would allow the state to default on the debt of its failed investment, for which of all states in investing in game development companies is fucked up. But they, of course, were the ones that actually put their money into 38 Studios. And this is via the Associated Press. The Rhode Island Commerce Corp, formerly known as the Economic Development Corporation, whose responsibilities include providing new and existing businesses with resources that they need to grow, gave 38 Studios $75 million in a loan guarantee in 2010 to relocate from Massachusetts to Rhode Island. Of course, 38 Studios promised to bring 450 jobs to the state by the end of 2012. But then the business, as we all know, took a turn for the worse in early 2012 and eventually filed for bankruptcy, leaving the state with out of pocket of more than, I think, $90 million in related transactions. So they just took it straight in the ass. Let's be honest here. The bill, which was introduced Thursday by Democratic Representative Karen Macbeth, would prohibit the state's Commerce Corp from making payments related to the $75 million loan guarantee. One of the arguments being made, which I tend to agree with, in favor of the loan, is that taxpayers should not have to pay for the bad investment that the state made in 38 Studios. However, and this has some validity as well, Governor Lincoln Chafee says that the default would harm the state's financial reputation and increase borrowing costs. So I think it's lose-lose, but what side do you kind of fall in on? Should the people have to pay for a shitty investment some dumb fuck made in a gaming company for the state, or do you think it's a bad idea because then people basically never want to invest any money in them because they're fucking idiots? But I mean, what do you think?
This is one of those things you can see both sides of the coin. Well, first off, the first funny part is now that it's called the Rhode Island Commerce Corp, which was before it was the Economic Development Corporation, but really it did nothing to develop the economy. It shit on their economy, so they renamed it to make it seem like it wasn't that big a deal. Now, first off, like you said, this whole story is sad. I think that if Rhode Island never came with this money, 38 Studios would have stayed in Massachusetts. They would have worked within whatever budget constraints they had without having this giant pile of money thrown at them, being like, oh, yeah, we got to spend this. Let's all move.
Hookers and Coke.
Yeah. So had none of this happened, I think we would be getting this year. We going to E3 and we might be seeing the 38 Studios Kingdoms of Amalur MMO. Yeah, but money fucks a lot of shit up, and this is one of those things that fucked up. And then it ends up fucking up back to the state because now they throw all this money at 38 Studios. They pack all their people up. They move people down to Rhode Island, and they've just pissed away all this money before they even got there. And then obviously you can't count on your first game being this gangbusters thing. They missed that first payment. All hell breaks loose. They declare bankruptcy. Now the state's holding this price tag, but really they shouldn't have done. This is one of those deals that the money that they had, that $75 million, was supposed to be to bring a lot of little companies into Rhode Island. And that company got greedy, and they were like, it's Curt Schilling. Bloody sock, Curt Schilling. We can get him, and we'll get his company. Yeah, and let's give him the entire nest egg. And that's really one of those examples of, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And they did, and they got fucked for it. So,
yeah. And that's why, I mean, but so now having said that, we all know the story. Do you think the taxpayer should take it in the ass or no? That's the I think the goal. I
guess they have to.
Decision. I guess so.
Because if they don't, then if your state writes off that much debt, and they're just like, oh, it doesn't exist. Sorry, fuck you. Then no one is ever going to enter into a monetary relationship with that state ever again because they're just going to say, hey, what's going to stop them from writing off the money they owe us? And then all of a sudden that kills their economy forever, or at least for a long time.
Well, and that's what the governor is saying. I mean, I guess I could see both sides. It feels like why does the taxpayer have to be the one that foots the bill when they didn't make the bonehead decision? But then this goes back to then maybe you shouldn't elect officials or have people in power that are fucking idiots. Maybe it's the goal of the people to find someone that is going to make the right decision. I don't really know. I think it's a tough choice either way. But then again, I think to myself, it's Rhode Island, so I don't really care, frankly. Too small of a state for me to care.
Yep.
Shitty all around. I would have loved to have seen the MMO. So I had a lot of respect for the team and a lot of respect for those guys. It's sad no matter what. And then whenever I see it come back in the news, I'm just like, oh, I wish it would just go away.
Actually, when I logged on Steam this week and I saw there was a sale on Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, and I looked at it, I was like, oh, I forgot how cool that game was. It really was a good game.
It was a good game. I didn't get all the way through it, but I liked the story enough. I saw where they were going with it, and it was almost like, oh, this is like whetting the appetite. I could see myself playing the MMO when it came.
Exactly.
That's anyway. And of course, let's keep the depression ball rolling because that's how we do on this show. And this one's for going out to Hit because he loves to talk about this. Iwata Nintendo considering mergers and acquisitions. This is awesome, by the way. This is awesome news. As an option. So Nintendo president Iwata said that mergers and acquisitions are an option for turning the company's fortune around in I guess it's Nikkei interview. Iwata said the company, quote, should abandon old assumptions about our businesses. This is good. I like this. We are considering M&As as an option, of course. For this reason, we will step up the share buybacks. This echoes Iwata's statements during a press conference earlier this month in which he said that Nintendo is, quote, thinking about a new business structure, end quote, and is specifically, quote, studying how smart devices can be used to grow the game player businesses. So this is interesting. He's talking about going to the mobile space, but obviously there's other implications as well. It also follows news of the company having, of course, drastically cutting its forecast for the fiscal year. We talked about this last week, taking its expected Wii U shipments down from 9 million all the way to 2.8 million, which is quite a hit. Additionally, Iwata commented that the option of Nintendo delisting itself from the stock market, saying that, quote, quarterly earnings reporting is not a good fit for Nintendo, end quote. He said that even when Nintendo thinks a goal is reachable, it doesn't know for sure whether a product will be a hit. Well, that seems pretty fucking common. That makes sense to me. Quote, but it is thanks to the stock market that Nintendo has grown to what it is today. I don't want to turn the management buyout just because we are inconvenienced now, end quote. So this, for me, when I read this is always what we dream of, that we talk about every week. It feels like, could this finally be the third-party provider of software to bigger companies that do consoles better? Could we finally, is this where mergers and acquisitions is going? I mean, what are your thoughts on something? Because that's what I feel this.
I read this
on an Xbox, bitch.
I read this both ways. I read it as like, oh, okay, maybe they mean they're going to let their properties be acquired and licensed and everything else. But then I saw the flip side, and like I said, you know what, maybe they're planning on absorbing some sort of mobile developers and pumping their games out to mobile that way. So it all depends on which way this goes. It's definitely not their usual business strategy. I thought it was funny, that line there. He's like, when he was talking about them delisting from the stock market, quarterly earnings is not a good fit for Nintendo.
Right,
like everybody's judged on quarterly earnings.
Doesn't really fit our strategy. You're like, wait,
we don't like to have to say earnings.
So you just don't want to say that you lost money? Yeah, I just don't want to tell you. I don't want anyone to know that we're not doing well. Well,
we don't like to tell it quarterly. We like to tell right after we have a good sale. We like to tell everybody and then just be quiet till the next good thing. Right.
No, I mean, and I get it. Like, there's a lot of, especially even in that culture, that no one wants to say they're failing. We've all heard the news that he basically, I don't know if we actually discussed this on the show. I can't remember. Actually, I don't think we did. He cut his salary in half. All the CEOs, and if you guys haven't heard this news, basically, obviously, it's like falling on the sword within that culture, and they all decided they would half their salary for the rest of the year and not take the full payment. So, they genuinely feel bad about this. They're trying to do whatever they can to recover the company. Of course, when I read it, that's my first thing I read is like, oh my God, Zelda on an Xbox or Zelda on a PC or whatever. I don't know if it'll make it there. Obviously, they're looking at mobile. They're looking at devices outside of the 3DS. They're obviously really great in that space as is on small screens. So we could see licenses going to iOS and Android, which I think would be a huge market for them. Obviously, that could go that way as well.
Maybe you could see when they're saying acquisitions. Maybe acquire someone like Ouya.
Right, and try to put something out there. I hope not. I mean, no one wants to acquire poop. That's not.
No. The Ouya is as big a piece of shit as the Wii U. But at that point, you can say, if you put your shit onto the Ouya, well, now you've put it onto every Android mobile device ever.
True. You do get a marketplace almost instantaneously. So that could be a move. I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see the future, because before with Nintendo, it was always like we'd do these. Me and you would read the news and it would be like, Nintendo's fucking up, and they refuse to not fuck up. They will continue to fuck up, and you're like, Jesus Christ! And finally, after this earnings report, it's like, oh wow, they're really fucked. Like now they've waited as long as they could wait, and now they're kind of saying, yeah, maybe we should try to make some moves in business strategy and not just sit here and release crap product. So we could see something hopefully new coming out from Nintendo, aside from a funny Wiimote or something like that. Might be good.
God, I fucking hope so.
I fucking hope so too. I want him to come back. So, all right. So everyone's heard of Guitar Hero. They love it. They want to play it every day. But have you ever heard of Stroke Hero? Yeah, Stroke Hero. That's right. Stroke Hero teaches children about the importance of calling 911. No, gentlemen, not this kind of stroke. But by the way, we're all stroke heroes.
Yeah.
Okay, especially people that play Minecraft. Anyway, after playing an educational video game for 15 minutes, children understood what to do if someone was having a stroke. And now this is a game that was developed by the American Heart Association. Researchers tested 210 9 and 10-year-olds, and usually from low income in the Bronx in New York, on whether they can identify a stroke victim and knew to call 911. Researchers then tested the children again after they played the new version Stroke Hero, that's what they're quoting it, which is a stroke education video game. Finally, the children were given remote access to the game and encouraged them to play it at home, retesting them several weeks later. The conclusion that children were that were part of the study, 33% were more likely to recognize a stroke after playing the awesome video game Stroke Hero, and they knew to call 911. The children remembered what to do and were retested several weeks later. The people that continued to play the game were 18% more likely to recognize the symptoms of a stroke than the ones that were not. So this is a weird story. But I don't even know how to segue into actual discussion about this, but I will say this is proof that playing video games can save lives.
Okay, that's I can see where you went from point A to point B. I'm not sure what route it took. I can see how you got from one to the other, sort of. I don't know. I don't know if this says anything, because what they're saying is they took 9 and 10-year-old kids.
Right.
Then they showed them something. And then after they showed them, they asked them if they could identify it.
Right.
Now, that's like like if you ask a 9 or 10-year-old kid, like, what does like a shaved puss look like? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And then all of a sudden you show them some hardcore porn.
10-year-old that going to prison.
I understand this. I'm just giving you an example.
Okay.
And
then,
a
terrible example, but okay.
Then they see some hardcore porn, and then you're like, now which one's the shaved puss? And they're like, oh, it's that one. Like, that makes no sense. All right, let's take something different then. What does an H-bomb look like? I don't know. Then you show them an old film on H-bombs, and then you're like, okay, can you pick the H-bomb out of this lineup? Oh, that's the H-bomb. Like, it seems real common sense. Like,
it does seem kind of common sense. But I mean, what are they doing in the game? That's what I want to know. What is this game doing? What is Stroke Hero, the video game? What are they doing? I'm trying to picture the game, and it's like you have to find what is there, like a row of people, and you control a guy, you walk down an open space, and you have to see if someone's having a stroke. Like, are they fishing out? Are they fishing out? Yep, that's fishing out. That's not stroking out. That's totally different.
Oh, that guy's having a heart attack. Ignore him.
Right.
Gotta find the stroke out.
Let him die. He's not stroking out. Let him die. That guy fainted. He's not, I want to play the game, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I would really like to be on this too. So if anybody out there has a contact at the American Heart Association or knows where we can get a copy of Stroke Out or Stroke Hero,
which is even way worse than Stroke. It is like the worst name you can get. Like, here, 15-year-old boy, be a Stroke Hero. And he's like, hey.
I'm pretty sure there's a porn called Stroke Hero.
I'm pretty sure there's a porn called Stroke Hero. Or there will be after the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So D Smooth, what do you think of that story?
Jay, this story has me saying, what the fuck? And on that, we'll move on to the mailbag and voicemails. Hitman asks, what do you guys think about Infamous Second Son being single player only and Titanfall being multiplayer only? Come March, we'll see a shift in the tide when these two titles go head to head. Xbox One versus PS4? I don't see a problem with Infamous being single player only.
Me neither.
No, that's the kind of game that you could go either way with it. Sometimes, like some people like the Crackdown style games to play with other people. Sometimes they just want to play by themselves and go around and fucking collect orbs and that kind of shit. And Infamous has that same sort of open worldy superhero vibe to it. So, I don't know. I don't think that's a big deal.
It's my new thing of like, the idea used to be, even 2-3 years ago, if you had a single player game, you had to build a multiplayer component. There's no choice. Your game would sell. And the good news with that mentality was that's how we got games like Halo. Halo was originally a single player game. They tacked on multiplayer near the end, and it became one of the most successful pieces of that game. Nowadays, though, with so many games out there, I think what you're doing is you're finding developers that want to just focus on the core game itself. They want to either tell a story or they want to do a multiplayer experience. And we really saw this with the BioShock team. When it was handed over to, I can't remember who the other company was that did it, they built a multiplayer component, but it just didn't gel with that series. When it went back to the original developers, they said, no. This is what we're doing. We're telling a story, and at the end of that story, you stop playing the game. I think that's nowadays, because there's so many games out there, I think that's a viable strategy. I think if you really want to focus all of the money, and again, these games are now super fucking expensive. If you want to focus the money and the time on delivering an awesome core experience as a story, don't make a multiplayer component. And the same goes with Titanfall. That's a company that, yes, it's two known people, but it's still an upstart in the sense that they have no other track record. This is a brand new company. Yes, we know who they are, but they wanted to do multiplayer very well because that's what they knew. So why tell a story in Titanfall when you can just focus on core gameplay and making great multiplayer? I think it's smart.
It showed us that works. Remember, Quake 3 Arena came out, and they're like, there's no more single player shit. It's all about what we do well is multiplayer. Let's just throw out multiplayer.
Yep, and that's awesome.
With Quake 4, they went back and they did a single player campaign and multiplayer, but it goes to show that sometimes, and Quake 3 Arena was on the pro circuit for the longest time of any of the Quake games because they spent the entire cycle of development resources working on a multiplayer component, and it was perfect. It was awesome. So I think you're almost better off doing one or the other versus trying to do both, because as soon as you try to do two things, you can't take your full glass of water and put it either on one side or the other. You're either putting some here, and neither of those ends up being full when you're done.
Yeah, and sometimes you do, and it's not to say those things don't work, right? Because like the gems of the gaming industry are, like Bond, right? Like Bond was just fucking amazing. The story was amazing when it came out, and the multiplayer was fucking orgasmic. The same can be said about Halo, but those are rare, so rare that do you really want to spend all your investment time trying to hit this magical number? Or do you want to say, okay, our team is really great at multiplayer. Let's invest everything we can in multiplayer. Yep. It just feels like now it's safer. There's no reason to diversify your product like that and hurt yourself in the end. You might as well make one thing great to stand out against the insane amount of fucking stuff we have to buy today. It's just, there's too much stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm totally for it. Good question, Hit. Good job, buddy.
Well, I think the other part of his question was, is it going to push people to the Xbox One or the PS4? I don't think so. If you don't have both, you're not hardcore.
Yeah.
So get both and play both.
Stop being a pussy.
Yep. Grow a set.
Sell crack. That's what you got to do. Sell crack.
Grow a dick, unless you're a chick, and then shave your puss.
Wow.
Well, nobody wants a big fucking hairy 70s bush, okay? Let's be honest.
They don't want to run through the forest to get to the
No, exactly. Let's move
on.
All right. Altius asks, with back-to-back-to-back bad weeks for Nintendo, they're in a downward spiral. What would you two do to save the company if you guys were in charge?
Well, this is really apropos. Good job. Good question.
Well, Jay, now that we've taken over Nintendo,
right? I forgot.
I say we just stop making hardware and sell out to sell our shit to.
It's what we always say, and I totally understand that there's a reason they don't do that. Don't get me wrong. No one wants to sort of admit defeat. They're one of the oldest gaming consoles in the world. They've been in the marketplace for forever. But yeah, I mean, if I was in charge, there's really no question I'd diversify the product amongst multiple platforms. It just makes sense to me, and it was so sad when it happened to Sega. So don't get me wrong. Like I loved the Dreamcast. I thought it was the greatest system.
It was the greatest thing.
It was the greatest system ever. The difference here, and why I would do it even more so, is the Wii U is not the greatest system ever. It's a piece of shit. So Sega did it in the midst of having a great product. And that really says a lot with what happened in that company. They just couldn't get the momentum they needed to make the critical mass to keep the company going, and they still sold out. Nintendo has a product that no one wants. They're like, Wii U is not good. And they're still holding on. So if I was in play at a higher level, you know, the initiative would be obviously get more product to mobile. I actually really agree with that. I hope they do that. But at the end of the day, give me a Zelda on a fucking Xbox One. You'll make them
keep your handheld. Your handheld you're doing great with.
Absolutely.
Push those same titles to phones.
Yes.
Because that's a space where not everybody's going to go out and buy a dedicated handheld. So that's another market you can tap into.
The industry is like it is apparently never ending right now in mobile space.
Yeah. So now you've got your 3DS, your 3D device that people can hold. It's got 2 screens. That's one market. Then you push out to phones. That's a single screen, different gameplay, but you can put out your Zelda games, your Mario games, you name it there. Now you've got 2 platforms. And then for consoles, you don't need your own. You've got Xbox One and PS4. Just, produce your titles. Now you're a game dev and you publish them on these 2 consoles. Why does this seem like such a no-brainer? Why can't they fucking see that this?
Yeah, that's the odd part. I mean, I don't know if it comes down to them really wanting to try to get their core business back online and saying to themselves, maybe we can make this console better. Maybe we can come up with a product that people will buy. It feels like it's a little too late for that. That now we're on this 6-year stream of what is essentially just, people abandoning brand. I'm not even saying abandoning shit, but abandoning brand. Can they really reinvent themselves at this point? I don't personally think so. So maybe it's just going to be one of those slow, sort of arduous, downward spirals where finally in the 11th hour when there's no one left in the office and it's just fucking Iwata with a samurai sword about to fucking stab himself, Bill Gates will swoop in or someone swoops in hey bro, let me save your life. Give me Zelda for fucking Xbox 2 or 1.
Bill Gates sounds like a stoner. Bill Gates is all big. He's like, yo, bro, what's up?
Don't do this to yourself, man. I've got some ecstasy. Let's roll together. Figure out how to put Zelda on an Xbox. And then he will, and everything will be fine. Right? Yeah. But
I think it's that Japanese thing. It's the mentality.
Yeah, you can
never admit failure. And by stopping the hardware production, they admit failure. And I don't think that that's something that they can do at this point.
No. Yeah.
All right. Well, great question, Altius. And I like when we get to role play as the leaders of Nintendo. So that was nice.
Love it. It's for a day.
All right, well, everybody hit us up, 773-527-2961. Email us at podcast@tooledtoplay.com. You can also comment on this episode's thread on the Tool to Play homepage. Sponsors! Remember, by supporting our sponsors, you help to support Still Got Game. GoDaddy, starting at less than $5 a month. Web hosting from GoDaddy.com includes 99% uptime, 24/7 support, and free access to the GoDaddy hosting connection. The place to quickly install over 50 applications like WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, EROS, Commerce, and more. Go to tooledtoplay.com/GoDaddy for great deals on new .com registrations and renewals starting at just $1.99. Some restrictions apply. See site for details. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com. Now, if you'd like to sponsor us, 773-527-2961, podcast@tooledtoplay.com. Tell us what you're selling. We'll tell you what you're paying. You pay us, we'll sell it. Boom, done! Twitter us up. You can find everything Tool to Play related at twitter.com/Tool to Play. Everything podcast related at twitter.com/still_got_game. I, king of the internet, got everything that's fucking holy. I'm at twitter.com/Derek Nolan.
You can find me over at twitter.com/DudeIRock.
Facebook the fuck out of us. Facebook.com/Tool to Play. Facebook.com/Derek Nolan.
Facebook.com/DudeIRock.
Also, hit up our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tool to Play. Subscribe there. You'll be notified of all of the new content that Tool to Play puts out, whether it's Still Got Game, whether it's the rare show, Thick and Thin with LB and Duty, whether it's Hits, Quick Shit, Hit, Fit, Make, Tit, Shit, Bit, Shits, or whatever Hit's calling his show these days. Hits, Vape, Hits. It's me hit. Yeah, that's right. What's going on? It's hit. Yeah, that's right, bros. Yeah, I'm producing the show, but I'm also doing quick hits.
Producing the show right now with Bill Gates. We're rolling.
Yeah, I imagine he's right here with me. That's right. OG Bill Gates in the house. Okay. But all that content is on the YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com/Tool to Play, subscribe there. You'll be notified when any of our fine programming shows up. If you don't like the YouTube interface itself, you can also download the Tool to Play app, get it on the iTunes store, free. search up Tools Play, download the app. Not only will you see everything that's hitting on the Tools Play homepage, but you will also see top forum shit, and you will also get notified of all of the video content that's out there for Tools Play, and you'll be able to watch it right within the app. Also, please rate and review our podcast in iTunes. Give us 5 stars. Tell people we're gods. Tell people we're awesome. Tell people you love the show. It's possibly the greatest show you've ever, well, I guess in iTunes, it's the greatest show you ever listened to, but you could also, in your comment on the iTunes thing, fucking kick them over to twitch.tv, kick them over to the YouTube channel. It doesn't matter. You can point them out and be like, this show is awesome in audio, but you should also check out the video. Oh my God, it's so sick. Yeah. You can definitely help out. So just go there, give us 5 stars, write up a little blurb. It costs you nothing. Everybody's got iTunes. Absolutely free. Just takes a little bit of your time. We give a little bit of our time to you every week. The least you can do is give us a little bit of yours, right? That's what I'm thinking.
Goddamn straight. Be a stroke hero is what we're saying.
Exactly. All right. Well, each and every Monday night, we are live here on twitch.tv/ToolsPlay, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We do this thing up. We're here for your entertainment. And there's a chat channel. Hit's got that online every time. He's showing it sometimes on the screen, sometimes he's not. But even if you're not seeing it, there's a whole bunch of people participating behind the scenes. They're talking what we're talking to. They're talking to us. They're influencing the show. You too can influence the show. You can be part of the show. Instead of just being a destination, you can be a source. And now, granted, you're not going to be on, we're not going to put you on the screen, but maybe your name will show up in the chat thing. It'll throw you up on screen. You'll be like, look, there's my name. And you can go home and show your kids, unless you're like cockbite, then you can't show them that. But, at least you feel like you're participating in the show more than just sitting at home. So, the best ways to participate, live here on twitch.tv or by providing feedback, 773-527-2961, or emailing us. These are the ways you get involved in the show. But the Twitch TV channel, that is the instantaneous response. And we have no time to think of our response to your shit. If you ask us something so insane, we just have to come off the cuff. Otherwise, we look like idiots.
That never happens.
No, never. No. So, yeah, each and every Monday night, twitch.tv/ToolsPlay, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And I guess on that, why don't we wrap this episode up? I am Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
And I am Joel Dude I Rock Albert.
We are stroke heroes.